Kenya is now using 70% of its revenue to pay debt, up from 44% 5 years ago. In Kenya, public debt has become a central issue in economic and political discussions and analysis in recent years. Debt levels have rapidly risen. While the state claims that our debt is still within sustainable levels, other debt indicators show otherwise. The country's public debt now stands at Kenya shillings 9.14 trillion in nominal terms, about 70% of the gross domestic product, GDP, up from 1.62 trillion, the equivalent of 49% of GDP in 2013. Over the years, government spending has been increasing significantly. With ordinary revenues trailing government spending by big margins, huge fiscal deficits are now a key feature of the budgets. Borrowing, both domestic and external, is the means to finance these fiscal deficits. In addition, the government already procured debt to finance mega projects across the country, including the extension standard gauge railway, various dams, irrigation projects, and roads, some of which may become white elephants. Some keen observers have faulted these projects as bad investments, with dubious prospects in terms of generating their worth in value for money. The government's appetite for more loans attracted lots of criticism from some economic experts who have cited the example of Ghana, which, having earlier gone the same path, was now in financial distress. Noting that driving public spending on borrowed money does not make any sense at all. The country needs to have an honest conversation on public debt. Consider the burden that this debt has put on the economy using 3 indicators, namely, debt sustainability analysis, DSA, findings for Kenya, secondly, debt servicing cost for the last 5 fiscal years, and lastly, the impact of debt on budget implementation. While Kenya has not defaulted on its debt obligations, the slight economic shock, like the case of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 or an economic recession, could cause economic instability, resulting in the country being unable to sustain the public debt and therefore plunging into debt distress. Government collects revenue to enable service delivery and provision of goods to the people. It is important to note that Section 42(1)(a) of the Public Finance Management Regulations provide that debt service payments, as a rule, shall be a first charge on the consolidated fund. This therefore makes debt repayment a priority expenditure of the government to avoid defaulting. In the fiscal year 2017-18, the government spent 44% of the national revenue on debt servicing. This rose to 53% in the financial year 2021-22 and has risen to over 70% in 2025. This means that public debt is exerting a lot of pressure on revenues and therefore burdensome. While debt servicing continues to claim the biggest share of government expenditures, development allocations are on a decline. Currently, debt service charges constitute the single L.